There's still time to make trade offers in your leagues. And if there's not, well, at least we'll tell you some players that we think are going to have big finishes or maybe struggle toward the finish line. Welcome to Fantasy Football Today, everybody. On this Wednesday, it is presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. And the whole gang is here, Adam, Dave, Heath, and Jamey. And we'll be doing a little buy low, sell high, also grading your trades, talking about Thursday night's game, which should be kind of interesting. Pittsburgh and Cleveland, some difficult start or sit decisions. And are you guys ready to play the Fantasy Feud?
Yeah.
That's the game?
That's the game today.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I'm excited. I'm ready.
I was so excited to play Who Has More.
Nobody's ever excited for that.
Oh, come on. Who has more?
I had one for Adam. I thought I was going to get him.
Come on. Bring it out.
Who has more fantasy points this season? Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix?
I don't think you're asking that question unless the answer is Bo Nix.
Jane Daniels.
It's Bo
Jaden
Nix.
Daniels.
Oh, Bo Nix. How about that?
Yep, by 0.2 of a point.
Wow.
So we could probably look at a different site and see that Daniels has more.
Probably. Okay, obviously neck and neck. All right, let's get
Who's
right
rookie of
to
the year?
it.
It's a good question right now.
Yeah.
It is not the slam dunk that it once was.
No.
And I think if Bo Nix finishes strong, I think he's going to get it.
I'm going to check the odds. Jaden Daniels is still minus 525.
So what's Bo Nix at?
Plus 350.
That's
like
a good wager right now.
Brock Bowers is plus 2,000. If he breaks the catch record and
He's
one of those guys falls off,
Did Puka win Rookie of the Year?
Yes.
probably Stroud, right? Or was it
Yeah.
Puka?
No, Stroud did.
Yeah. That's why he's plus 2,000.
But if Bo Nix gets to the playoffs and Jaden Daniels doesn't,
Oh, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If Jaden Daniels makes the playoffs and Bo Nix doesn't.
it's a fun finish.
All right, let's do some buy lows. Dave, you don't have a lot today. That's fine. Let's narrow in on a couple that we really like. Who are some buy lows?
I don't know why I did that. Bucky Irving is the running back that I think is a good buy low. If I needed a running back desperately and I went to the waiver wire yesterday and Amir Abdullah was the best name there, I'm probably making a noise like the one I just made 30 seconds ago. But I think Bucky Irving can be half for cheap. I love the Bucs schedule the rest of the way. He actually has more carries than Rachaad White in each of his past 3 games. He leads Tampa Bay in rush attempts, in rush yards, with rushing touchdowns. Only 4 fewer receptions than Rachaad White in their past 4 games, 46 fewer receiving yards. So that might be the lone edge that White has over Bucky Irving. But my hunch is that Tampa Bay went into the bye week and said, how can this offense get better? And they said, give Mike Evans more targets. And let's let Bucky Irving run a little bit more. So cheap running back, could have a strong finish. I like him as someone to go and buy low on.
Could you do the same with Rachaad White too?
You could, but I think Bucky's got a little bit more upside, especially in those half and non-PPR leagues.
They got the Giants. Then they have 4 of their last 6 games beginning this week, and the Giants aren't good. Are against teams that rank 26th or worse against running backs, including 2 against Carolina, 1 against Dallas. These are 2 of the 3 worst teams against running backs. So we love the schedule. We've been loving the schedule for a while for Bucky Irving. Okay, Jamey, you're up. Buy low.
Brian Thomas, but make sure it's a very cheap offer for someone who knows what the rest of the season looks like and with the quarterback situation. But I mean, you got to be happy with how he performed with Mac Jones in the last game, and now they're down another receiver in Gabe Davis. And so, unless they're going to shut him down too, which I would be surprised if that's the case, for as cheap as you might be able to get him for the upside he still brings, I would try to make trades for him.
Would you give up Devontae Adams?
It feels like that's a lateral move, so I probably would just keep Adams since he has his quarterback.
Okay. What about Ridley?
Same.
Okay. You don't want to stay lateral, but I get it.
What'd you say, Heath?
I think I'd rather have Ridley.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're trading to trade at that point.
Right.
Does this matter to you? You look at his schedule, Brian Thomas Jr., and there's a lot of red. You go to a guy's player page, and the good matchups are green, the bad ones are red. So Houston is on paper. Houston is good. That's his first matchup after the bye. And then his next 4 are against teams that currently rank 2nd, 3rd, 7th, and 2nd against receivers. But probably when I tell you the teams, you won't buy it. Tennessee, Jets, Raiders, Jets.
Well, is L'Jarius Sneed going to be there?
I don't know that he's ever playing again. Like, he's out again this week, but yeah.
I'll bring up what I said on the show yesterday. Like the type of player I think you can get Brian Thomas for is like someone's handcuff and something very cheap that you may not be using.
Yeah. So listen, if you're watching on YouTube right now, apparently our audio is bad. I don't think that's the case for the audio. Why would you pick that up?
I really thought that would make you angry to see that, and so I wanted to see a little bit.
One of the most underrated bits of the year is giving Heath access to the comments and letting him post.
So this is it's just my audio. Well, that doesn't make any sense because I'm recording it on an audio audition.
I was about to have the biggest
meltdown of the year.
Here we go.
You know, it was time though. We haven't had one for a little while.
I could leave and come back if it's just my audio. So
you just leave.
Yeah.
So my buy low is Deebo.
Oh, wait. Do me a favor.
Yeah.
When I leave and come back, my recording is going to stop. I'm going to have to start it. So just talk for 30 seconds about anything other than your buy low. I'll be right back.
30 seconds. So my iguana update.
Oh, please.
The iguana last night I came out. Well, first off, yesterday morning I came out and the iguana was on the screen of the lanai. And so I really tried to quickly get to the hole where he's been getting in. And he ran back into the hole again and then sat there. I don't know if I told you guys, but a couple of days ago, I actually cooked up some cayenne pepper and garlic and just stunk the whole house up. He ran out. But then he came back and backed in tail first and just left his nose hanging out of the hole so he couldn't smell. Very smart iguana, yes. So then he was out the other day sunning, and I couldn't get him trapped out. Last night, I see his head sticking out of the hole. So I snuck out.
Holes in your house or on your patio?
What?
In your house or on the patio?
Well, I have a covered patio. He's, I think, been living for a while in the ceiling of my covered patio, and I just didn't know it. But recently, he got into the ceiling of my living room, which is a problem. Now, this is a 2-story house. So, like, there's no crawl space for anybody to get into, and nobody will come help me with this. Most of them won't even return my calls. Whoa. So anyways, last night, his head was actually sticking out of the hole. And so I went up on the roof above him and was able to coerce him out of the hole. Got a towel shoved up in there now, waiting for someone to come fill the hole. I think we may have resolved the iguana issue. I also am afraid that I might wake up and he's going to be on my face in my bed, like getting me back. So we'll see.
All right. So who is your buy low then, Heath?
You already talked about it.
My buy low is Deebo Samuel. It's been a bad couple of weeks for Deebo, but we had a 3-week stretch where he scored at least 12. Yeah, basically averaged 12 PPR fantasy points without scoring a touchdown. The biggest problem for Deebo Samuel is he has 1 receiving touchdown all season long. The rushing average hasn't been good either. He still has 20-point upside any given week. Other than this just absolutely awful game most recently, he's scoring 11 to 12 most weeks without a touchdown, which is a starting wide receiver. People are panicking about Deebo. They think that Juwan Jennings is the number 1, and when George Kittle comes back, it's going to be even worse. I think Deebo Samuel is still a must-start wide receiver rest of season.
Okay, and I have a segment today that I'd like to get to called Touchdown Regression, looking at players who have been maybe a little bit unlucky with touchdowns. And Brock Purdy is, like kind of, I don't know if he's screaming aggression, but his touchdown rate has been 7.6%, 7%, and 4.2% this year, which isn't all that bad, but it's bad for him. But in the green zone, inside the 10-yard line, Brock Purdy's touchdown rate in 3 seasons was 75% as a rookie, 44% last year, and 25% this year. He's just been awful in the green zone, basically. He's completing only 46% of his passes. He has the 5th most green zone pass attempts in the NFL, but I think he's only thrown like 7 touchdowns from that distance. So I'm hoping that he starts throwing some more touchdowns. He's been running for touchdowns, which hasn't been helping Deebo Samuel. But there could be some more, there were a lot of touchdowns last year for the 49ers passing game. They haven't really been so far this year.
Are we sure that Deebo's good? Like, I mean, healthy. When I say good, I know he's a good football player. Are we sure that he's like, he went through a lot of stuff. And since he's come back, he has only 1 game with over I think it might be 80 total yards.
Well, I watched his routes from week 11, and I was like, man, he's not getting open at all. So I went to the ESPN analytics page that has the grades for everyone's open score. And Deebo Samuel has the 4th worst open score among 121 wide receivers. But it's low every year. He'd never, for whatever reason, that metric, I looked at the last 4 years. He's been a great receiver in the NFL 2 of the last 4 years. He's never had a high open score. So I don't know what to make of that.
Last week, he played a season high 87% of the snaps.
Yeah. Okay.
Is he on the team next year?
All right. Let's move on. I never talk about the articles on the website on cbssports.com/fantasy, but if you go there, it's just a great resource. I'm sure a lot of you already do read the stuff from Dave, Jamey, and Heath, but there's DFS content. The trade chart is out. Obviously, the waiver wire column, start, sit. Heath previews every position. It's comprehensive matchup breakdowns. Just go to cbssports.com/fantasy. We have other fantasy sports that we cover too, and look at all the written content because it's outstanding. Now, if you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use the bonus code FANTASY, and you're going to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, and you sign up using the bonus code FANTASY. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the code FANTASY when you sign up on BetMGM. We will be right back on Fantasy Football Today with some sell highs.
Historic rivals with unforgettable seasons meet in a game of honor. The Army-Navy game presented by USAA, December 14th on CBS.
All right, Dave, you want to start with some sell highs?
The sell high I have is Tyreek Hill. And like I said on our show on CBS Sports Network on Tuesday, you might feel like whiplash because we've talked about how Tyreek Hill is a great buy low. And now that he's had a big game, I wonder if there's enough excitement about him in your league where someone might overpay. And I'm not saying get him off your team and all that stuff. This is, of course, as we have to say this every time we mention a sell high. It means sell high. If you can turn Tyreek Hill into something that is a top 7-ish player at running back or wide receiver, I think you should do it. I don't like how he has, I think it's 3 games with 8+ targets since week 1. I think he has, he just doesn't have good numbers. I'd have to go back and check my notes to see just how bad it is. But we know what the contingency downside is for him. He's got a wrist injury. We know what his numbers are like when there is no Tua on the field. And even when he's had Tua on the field and he's playing, the numbers haven't been awesome. He had a great catch against Las Vegas for a touchdown. Here's what it is, Adam. Since week 1, you know what his longest reception has gone for?
No.
30 yards. No. That's not the Tyreek Hill that we know. So I think you got to downgrade expectations on him overall. But if others in your league think that he's just starting to break out because he's scored in consecutive weeks, take advantage. Sell high on Tyreek Hill.
Would you rather have Tyreek Hill or George Pickens?
Pickens is higher in the trade chart. I would rather have Pickens.
Any other? Give me a few other. Give me like a running back who's higher in the trade chart, or a couple.
Then Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second.
All right.
You should just try to trade him for somebody that's on a bye week. That's obviously not going to be someone considered. Like Chase Brown might be somebody you can get for Tyreek.
Chase Brown is higher than him on the trade chart. James Cook is higher than him on the trade chart. Kenneth Walker III. Tons of running backs are.
Someone's asking Hill or Neighbors.
I've got Hill ahead of Neighbors because I'm just worried about what's going to. I mean, first of all, we should be worried about Neighbors based on what's happened like the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But now here comes Tommy DeVito, who's a noted caretaker, who's not so good in the pocket. We'll see how he does this time around with a better offensive line. Theoretically, on paper, it's better, but I'm not so excited about Malik Neighbors.
Okay, Jamey, your sell high.
Anthony Richardson. Flip him now. If you can. Clearly, it's tough to trade quarterbacks, but this is a terrible matchup for him this week against Detroit and has a bye in week 14. If you want to start him in week 13 against the Patriots, if he comes out of this game playing well, I certainly get that. But if you can trade him for something that can help you in another position, if your quarterback situation is okay, now's the time to do so coming off this monster game where people may think, okay, he's solved. So I would try and get rid of him if you can.
So Tyreek Hill for Dave, Anthony Richardson for Jamey, and Heath, your sell high.
So this is like the highest sell high of all sell highs. Like you got to really go get a king's ransom. He's been awesome, but Joe Mixon in the fantasy playoffs is at Kansas City, against Baltimore, at Tennessee. Those 3 teams are the only 3 teams in the NFL giving up less than 3.7 yards per carry to running backs. It is the 3 worst matchups in terms of running back efficiency. You got to go get an RB1 plus. Like you should be able to get Brees plus or Bijan plus. But Joe Mixon's been incredible. He looked in his most recent game better than he looked when he was 23 years old.
Yeah,
like
true.
Awesome.
Yep.
Which is a great time after he does that in an island game to go get the moon.
Would you turn him into McCaffrey?
I'd rather have McCaffrey.
Yeah, he's the number 1 running back per game. He's averaging over 20, I think over 21 points per game. But yep, he's got the worst. You're right, worst schedule. You know what? I think I'm going to try to do that. I've Mixon and McCaffrey in one league, but the other league, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to see if I can make it happen. I hope
they're tied on the trade chart in PPR, but in non-PPR, I do like Mixon better. McCaffrey looked. He had good explosiveness in his first game. I thought he kind of took a step back in his second game. Also, I want to give everybody a fair warning. The sun is back.
Yes.
I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's coming.
So it turns out that in both of my Joe Mixon
the sun is back. Sorry that it left.
yeah. Both of my Joe Mixon leagues, I also have McCaffrey, so I guess I can't make that trade. But
would you turn him into Kamara?
No.
I wouldn't either. I'd rather have Mixon. Kyron Williams.
No, God, no.
Brees Hall.
We're not making 1-for-1 trade. We're going to downgrade a little bit at running back in theory and add somebody else.
I'm taking your temperature on these guys. I want to know where Mixon ranks compared to them. Brees Hall.
Kyron plus. Brees plus.
Yeah, I think Heath is right. Like if you're trading him, you're trading him for 2 players, 2 starters.
All right.
Not running back for running back.
So buy low on Bucky, Irving, Deebo Samuel, and Brian Thomas Jr. Sell high on Tyreek Hill, Joe Mixon, and Anthony Richardson. Someone said in the chat they traded Richardson for Deebo Samuel. Nice work.
Okay.
Let me get your thoughts on 2 running backs who have scored combined 1 touchdown. It was receiving in the last 4 games. So they've gotten 4 straight games, both of them without a rushing touchdown. And they are Aaron Jones and Kyron Williams. And how do you feel about buying low on Aaron Jones and Kyron Williams? And I'll just say Aaron Jones, I think his longest run in his last 4 games is 12 yards. But we do like their roles. They've had some bad touchdown luck lately. Are they buy lows, Aaron Jones and Kyron Williams?
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about this on Sports Network today with Robert Turbin. So if you want a running back's perspective on it, that'll be at 1 o'clock. They're both in slumps. They both have scored 11.2 PPR points or less in 3 straight games. 11.2, ironically enough, the exact same score as their best score for all 3 of them. So who snaps out of it first? Who has the best chance long term? I'm a little worried about Aaron Jones. Age clearly is something that you got to be somewhat worried about. And this rib injury, who knows how it's going to impact him moving forward. He's a hip injury played through, a rib injury played through. Give him credit. He's had a fantastic season for, I think at least for my expectations, I thought he'd be a little bit worse than this. But now you're starting to see some of the flaws, and it also coincides with, for what it's worth, Christian Darrisaw being out. So they lose one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. Cam Robinson, I think, was a great pickup just to try and find a replacement there, but he's not Darrisaw. And
there's an injury too, right?
I'm sorry?
Remember when Jones left a game with an injury, came back late? I don't think
the rib injury.
Yeah. I think that.
But that was 2 games ago. He started before then.
It did start before then. Okay, so it's all concerning. I don't know if I feel so good about Aaron Jones the rest of the season. Kyron, I think, could snap out of it. If I have either of those running backs on my team and I can't sell high on them, I want the backups on my bench.
I think it's just been like we've had a stretch of a month or 6 weeks where all of their touchdowns were rushing touchdowns. And we've had a couple of games here recently where all their touchdowns are passing touchdowns. It's probably going to even out over the rest of the way. I'm 100% in on buying low on Kyron Williams and pretty much just as out on Aaron Jones.
Is anybody interested on their schedules the rest of the way?
I mean, I looked at their schedules. They both have, I'd say, neutral to slight
gets the Bears twice.
Yeah, I think Jones has a good schedule the rest of the way.
All right.
Rams not as much.
Okay, some news and notes as we get ready to talk about the Thursday night game. The Steelers said that Arthur Smith said that he wanted to use Justin Fields more against Baltimore. So just be aware there are two quarterbacks who maybe could come off the field near the goal line. That's just speculation. I have no idea. But Russell Wilson could be one of them, and the other would be Cooper Rush, who's going to start again for Dallas at Washington, but they could use Trey Lance in certain situations.
Also Derek Carr.
Yeah. Brock Purdy has a sore shoulder. Get well soon, Brock Purdy, for this game at Green Bay.
I do too.
You do? It was from
What happened?
It's really, I think it's just like a repetitive thing with the mouse. Like
It's
literally
from your mouse.
Yeah.
Computer.
Yeah, computer.
Oh man.
I thought maybe you stuffed that towel in your roof hole too hard and you strained it.
So this, like, can you get like workers' comp for that?
No.
Okay, that's on the job injury here. Jake Ferguson unlikely to play this week. Brandon Cooks, could be back this week. All right, so I want to give some stats here to talk about touchdown regression. And by the way, I've never felt so invalidated when it comes to a show topic. I wish I had done this poll before the show, but I started asking people, hey, let's do some grade the trade. Let's get some. I got a lot of response, but then I did a poll. When is your trade deadline? Already passed this week, week 13, or after week 13? 59% of the respondents so far said their trade deadline already passed, which really surprises me, to be honest with you. That's early. It's usually Thanksgiving week, I thought, for most people.
I think usually it's after week 11, and we're on week 12, and usually week 12 is Thanksgiving week. This season, it fell a different way. Okay.
All right, but still, nice to talk about players who could have big finishes or could struggle. So touchdown regression, let me know if this means anything to you. CJ Stroud is at 3.3%. Last year, it was 4.6%. That's a touchdown rate. Geno Smith has a 2.9% touchdown rate.
Ew.
Third in the NFL in pass attempts, but he's 18th in green zone pass attempts inside the 10-yard line. And in the green zone, Geno Smith has 3 touchdowns on 17 pass attempts, and no Seattle player has more than 3 touchdowns so far. That was one that really stood out to me, guys.
Yep. The problem is, the problem is that like 17 games is not a very big sample size, and so there's no guarantee that it's turning around this year. He's been unlucky. We should expect him to throw more touchdowns, but he might not.
I told you about the Brock Purdy thing. Matthew Stafford is a guy that's now 3 years in a row for Stafford where he struggles to throw touchdowns in the green zone. His touchdown rate in the green zone has been 21.4%, 33.3%, and 25% in his last 3 seasons. Very low. So I don't know if that's just going to be a thing now with Stafford. Like, all the touchdowns came last week, but he was having trouble scoring touchdowns before. All right, couple of receivers. This one's might be more interesting. Devontae Adams has 7 targets inside the 10-yard line and 1 touchdown. 4 of those 7 have come from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 10 passes in the green zone since the trade for Rodgers or for Adams, and 4 of them have gone to Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Jets have the highest green zone pass rate in the NFL. And George Pickens has 7 green zone targets and 0 touchdowns. So Adams and Pickens are guys that stand out. And I'll throw one more, Hunter Henry. You look at 3 guys who have had a lot of targets inside the 10-yard line and 0 or 1 touchdown catch. It's Adams, Pickens, and Henry.
Excellent.
Oh man, here comes the sun. Okay.
Doing it again. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm in the sauna.
I look up for my notes.
This is fantastic, really.
Heath, what do you think about Adams, Pickens, and Henry? Does any of that resonate?
Yeah, I think like you should, and that's why like I don't completely normalize touchdown rate in my projections, but a lot of times when I'm higher or lower on a guy, it's because I'm expecting a little bit of regression in that regard. I think Pickens is a top 12 wide receiver rest of season, maybe top 10. Adams is a low-end number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
What was the Henry one? Was it Hunter Henry?
Hunter Henry, yeah.
I get distracted by Dave, who is slowly disappearing into the ether. It was good to know you, Dave.
A great mission.
I think Hunter Henry's a top 10 tight end.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay.
Some running backs who maybe have had some bad touchdown luck. Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor. They have 10 to 11 carries inside the 5-yard line, and they've only scored 3 touchdowns on those carries. And of course, they have to deal with quarterbacks who score there as well. Aaron Jones, the aforementioned, he has 8 carries inside the 5-yard line and only 1 touchdown run from that distance.
On the season?
Well, yeah, on the season, only 1 touchdown from inside the 5 on 8 carries for Aaron Jones. Terrible.
I could have sworn that he had more than that. That's something. That stood out to me.
And who's the running back that has the most carries inside the 5-yard line without a touchdown from that distance? It is Javonte Williams. 6 carries inside the 5, 0 touchdowns. Let's talk about Thursday night football. Pittsburgh is at Cleveland.
That's a thunderstorm that's coming to Cleveland on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So why don't we start with that, Dave? Bad weather.
Yeah, it sounds like there's going to be some serious rain and maybe even some snow on Thursday for this game at night. There was one report that said that the winds were going to be north of 25 miles an hour. That's very concerning. Kevin Roth, who does an amazing job tracking the weather for Roto Grinders, he's on social media. He doesn't think the wind will be that big of a factor. If the wind ends up being a factor, and you know me, I don't really like to look at weather until an hour before kickoff anyway to really make an impact in my fantasy rankings. But if there is serious wind, I don't know how you can feel good about starting any quarterback in this game, any kicker in this game, and probably any Browns wide receiver in this game. I think that it would be very, very tough for Jameis to do what he's been doing if the ball is going to get stuck in the wind when he lofts it, 25 yards downfield.
And I think I agree 100%. I just think it's like, as of right now, Kevin Roth doesn't think it is going to be that windy.
Right.
So
he doesn't think it's going to be a factor.
If it is tomorrow night, we're not currently expecting that it will be.
I'm not starting James because of the defense he's facing, not because of the weather.
There's definitely that too. I mean, you just saw what they did to Lamar Jackson. Lamar attempted 12 throws of 15-plus air yards against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did a great job against them. Technically, they allowed a touchdown. Zay Flowers' touchdown was 16 yards, and that ball traveled 16 yards. So I'm thinking that it's not going to be a good game for Jameis. He's a bye-week quarterback at best.
What about Russell Wilson? Anybody want to start Russell Wilson?
If there's no wind issues, I have no problem starting Russ. Wouldn't prefer not to, but this is the type of matchup he should excel in.
Obviously, we thought that last week, but
right. Well, I did. I don't know if everybody here did.
No, I think everyone had him in the top 12 against the terrible Ravens. It didn't happen, and he didn't throw the ball downfield against the Ravens. It was weird. He averaged 6.1 air yards per pass attempt. That was his first game below 8.2 air yards per pass attempt. And it was just like a really safe, boring game. He didn't make mistakes except for that end zone interception, and they just kind of low scored their way to a win.
Yeah, I thought
Speaking of low scoring, 36.5 is the over-under on this game. That's one of the lowest of the year.
So then is George Pickens and Njoku, are they the only must starts in this game?
Najee.
Steelers DST.
Boswell.
Okay. DST for sure, but Najee you feel like is a must start?
Yes.
I've got Najee at 21.
Okay. Jamey, are we around there on Najee? I think you guys are pretty similar.
I'm a little higher. I mean,
15.
he's having a good season, and I think they're going to win this game easily.
I think a lot of people are probably going to be starting Jaylen Warren this week, given the bye week situation. Maybe expect around the normal 10 PPR points from him.
Sounds about right.
Definitely flex conversation.
Got him projected for 8.3, which is right in the middle of the flex conversation this week.
It really is.
Would you rather start Najee Harris or Cedric Tillman? Or Jerry Jeudy?
Najee is safer. If you think Najee is going to score a touchdown, then he's the easy one to start there over Tillman.
So
he came into last week with a solid 3-game stretch and then had a very good game against Baltimore.
In non and half PPR, I'd definitely start Najee over the Browns wide receivers. In full PPR, I'd probably start the Browns wide receivers.
Najee had 4 catches for 30 yards against the Ravens, who give up a ton of receiving yards to running backs. The Browns give up the 4th fewest receiving yards, but they are a much worse run defense than the Ravens. Without Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, they've really struggled against the run. So it looks like a good matchup. Pickens is a stud. I was actually surprised that Pickens is like, for the season, he's not a top 30 wide receiver per game in non-PPR, and I think he's about 24th to 26th, somewhere in that range in full PPR, and it's because he only has 2 touchdowns. But with Russell Wilson, he's just been outstanding. So you're not going to sit George Pickens. Yeah. And again, I know a lot of you in the chat probably have some questions about this game. So let's, anything you have, help me out. Let me know the way you want to go.
Just since we're bringing up the chat, I know we're not going to show a lot of the comments. They're hysterical, by the way. You're doing a great job.
Oh, about Dave's. Yeah. Dave, one of them was like, Dave's not coughing. What a legend. That was a really good comment. All right, so let's talk about. So Heath, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you had Jerry Jeudy pretty high in your rankings, like top 15 or something. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible week at wide receiver. I've got him projected for 12 PPR fantasy points, which is not generally a top 15 wide receiver. But like, I agree that the matchup is difficult. I still think Jameis is going to throw 40 passes. Still think you're getting 10 targets for Jeudy, 10 for Elijah Moore, 10 for Cedric Tillman. And even against a bad matchup, that's probably double-digit PPR fantasy points. If Jerry Jeudy scores a touchdown, he's probably going to score 18 to 20.
So let me go through the wide receivers again. I did this on Monday. I did it on Tuesday, but one more time. Wide receivers with 8 or more targets against the Steelers. That's basically what you can expect right now from these wide receivers on the Browns. So wide receivers with 8 or more targets against the Steelers, there have been 7 so far, and 3 of them were bad. Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, and Devontae Adams, the 3 best that they faced, basically, well, 3 of the 4 best, all struggled, less than 12 PPR fantasy points for Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, and Devontae Adams. Malik Neighbors had 14.1 PPR fantasy points on 13 targets. And the 3 wide receivers who did well with 8 or more targets were Josh Downs, Jalen Tolbert, and Michael Pittman. So go figure. But you basically have like a 50% hit rate on 8 or more targets against the Steelers.
And the Downs and Pittman game, that was when Richardson started, got hurt, Flacco came in. I wonder if the Steelers just weren't quite as ready for Flacco as they could have been, because they were preparing for Richardson. And Josh Downs got his numbers on short targets, I believe. He might have had a long play for a touchdown. I don't remember, but I know that his ADOT in that game was really low. Pittman's was high. And these are all 3 receivers with the Browns who have high ADOTs, because that's what Jameis does. He's got the 4th highest ADOT passing of any quarterback since he started taking over. So we're talking about 3-4 weeks, something like that. I do worry a little bit about their effectiveness against the Steelers, who've gotten better defending the deep pass over the last 5 weeks or so.
I think that the ADOT thing is a good point, and the Josh Downs thing made me think this also. I think I maybe am liking Elijah Moore a little bit more, because he does not have a big ADOT.
Let me see, I've got it right here. His ADOT since Jameis has taken over is 12.55 yards. It's actually higher than Judy's. Judy's basically at 12.
Well, yeah, okay. It's 3 games.
And it's Tillman who's at 14.1.
For the year, Elijah Moore is at 8.6. 3 games worth of ADOT, like one long pass could have a pretty big impact on that.
That's fair,
also a quarterback change, though.
Right. With James.
Who were the other bad wide receivers against Pittsburgh, Adam?
Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, and Devontae Adams.
I'm not sure I would draw quite the same line in the sand between those guys, because like CeeDee Lamb had 11.4 fantasy points. Garrett Wilson had 11.1 fantasy points. Mm-hmm. Like the bad guys still scored 11. If you're telling me the floor this week for these guys, if they get 8+ targets, it's 11 PPR fantasy points, I'm starting them.
It's just a matter of, as we're going to see this with this team all the time, there's going to be 40 to 46 pass attempts for Jameis. He was 41, 46, 46. So figure somewhere in that range. You're going to have, as we've seen with the 3 guys so far in the sample size that we have, 2 great games for Tillman, 1 bad one. 2 great games for Elijah Moore, 1 bad one. 3 solid games for Jerry Jeudy, but 1 spike game. Njoku's been sort of the constant there. So anytime he's giving these guys chances to make plays, they're going to make plays. It's just a matter of who's going to be the one that gets sort of left out. Is it going to be because of coverage? Is it going to be because he's just off that day? It's hard to say.
Could the weather be a factor? Now,
Yeah.
that's another
We'll have to
log
revisit.
to add on top of this crap fire.
All right, so can I give one more stat here? We can.
I would also like to give one more stat.
All right, go ahead.
Since week 7, only one wide receiver's had 15 plus PPR points against the Steelers.
Who was that?
Terry McLaurin.
Okay, stat of the game that I don't think matters. I don't think it's going to move you. The Steelers have had, before last week, Derrick Henry scored 12.5 points last week. Before that, the Steelers had allowed 17.5 or more PPR fantasy points to a running back in 6 straight games. That really surprised me. I didn't even realize that. That's Taylor, Rico Dowdle, Madison, Breece Hall, Tyrone Tracy Jr., and Austin Eckler. They've been awful against running backs.
It won't happen this week.
Yeah, you don't think so?
No, it's too hard to trust Chubb. I mean, if they get behind, he's gonna lose reps.
Yeah, he's not gonna play.
So they're just, last week was his week to show us something, and he unfortunately didn't do it.
Full PPR, I've got Jalen Warren projected for more points this week.
Then Nick
hate
Chubb.
that, but that's how it goes.
Tillman or Myers, PPR?
I mean, it depends if you think Myers, what he did the first time against Denver, is repeatable. I would take Tillman.
I'd start all 3 Browns wide receivers over Myers.
He's not going to get shadowed.
No, I'm taking Myers.
Nick Chubb or Eckler?
Eckler.
PPR Eckler. It's close in non-PPR, to be perfectly honest. I might take Eckler even in non-PPR.
Eckler everywhere for me.
Would you drop Christian Watson for Cedric Tillman?
I do have Tillman over Watson in full PPR.
I'd rather have Tillman.
I'd rather have Tillman. It's probably one of those where I just look at the waiver wire and not do anything.
Tillman or Javonte Williams in half PPR?
Javonte this week.
I want to trust Javonte so badly because the matchup is so good. I am a little scared that Sean Payton's going to do some BS with his RBs. That's going to make me say WTF. So I'm going to probably take the chance on Javonte, but I'm a little scared to do it.
I would go Tillman.
Okay. And Roshan Johnson or Nick Chubb?
Chubb,
but it wouldn't surprise me if their numbers are the same.
Last one. Tillman or Pollard? 2 more. Tillman or Pollard in non-PPR?
I'll probably take Pollard.
Pollard and none.
If there's no Tajay Spears, it's Pollard.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't think they're right. Tajay Spears in the concussion protocol. And Javonte, Najee, or Pollard. We need 2. Javonte, Najee, Pollard.
Sitting Pollard.
Did I say Javonte? Javonte. Yeah.
I'm sitting Javonte.
I've got Najee the lowest of the 3.
Heath or Dan, PPR?
Heath or Dan?
Heath would never lose to Dan in any sporting event.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, tennis he would.
I don't know.
How long do I get to practice?
It doesn't matter. Dan's legit. He's legit.
I watched an entire match of him.
Yeah, you didn't
The
really.
overhand serve's not gonna work on me.
He's legit. All right. Steelers DST, start them and start David Njoku. He's top 7 for everybody. And we are going to take it, bro. That's it for Thursday Night Football.
Nah.
We're going to take a break on fantasy football today. Come right back with the feud, baby. And then we'll grade your trades to finish things off. We'll be right back. It's time for Fantasy Feud. What was that? That's the Fantasy Feud music?
That's the Family Feud theme song. It's sung by me right now.
That was not. I don't know what that was. It was not. No way.
I'm sorry, Dave.
That's it. All right. Let's go with Heath versus Jamey for our first round here. Give me Heath. Give me Jamey. The top 5 answers are on the board. I'm looking for leaders in rushing touchdowns.
Jamey.
Heath.
Derrick Henry
is the number 1 answer. Pass or play?
What the heck? I'll play.
Okay. Derrick Henry's off the board. We need the next 4 leaders in rushing touchdowns.
Jalen Hurts.
He's number 2.
That's pretty much where I run out of. Pretty confident on those two names. Joe Mixon?
He is
that's a good
tied
one.
for third. Yep. There are two others who are tied with Mixon.
Kyron Williams?
Oh, hold on one second. I have to get the buzzer sound.
Some host doesn't even have his sounds ready.
There we go. I'll get it for the next one.
David Montgomery.
Correct.
That's a great guess.
You've got 4 out of 5. You've got Henry, Hurts, Montgomery, and Mixon. One more with 2 strikes left. Top 5 in rushing touchdowns.
Is it Bijan?
One more guess. Jamey's thinking over there. Jamey's doing the X thing.
I mean, this would probably be pretty dumb, but they are pretty awesome. So Jahmyr Gibbs.
Not a dumb guess. That's probably who I would have guessed is incorrect. All right, we've got Henry with 13 touchdowns, Hurts with 11, Montgomery and Mixon with 10. Who else has 10 rushing touchdowns? Who's number 5?
You said the other day, James Cook.
Yeah, I did say it. I don't. When did I say that?
Sunday night, maybe.
Oh, God, I don't remember saying that at all, because when I saw it this morning, I was like, James Cook has 10 rushing touchdowns? Pathetic. I don't remember that. Yeah, that's still amazing to me. James Cook is tied for third with 10 rushing touchdowns. Jamey wins the round. All right, who will Jamey
That's the easiest win ever.
who will Jamey be playing in the finals? Will it be Dave or Heath? Dave and Heath, you're up now on Fantasy Feud. Here we go. Top 5 answers are on the board. I'm looking for the leaders in passing yards per attempt. Heath.
Brock Purdy.
Is the number 3 answer. Dave, you have a chance to get 2 or 1.
Oh, yards per attempt.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give a guess.
All right, Heath, pass or play?
Oh, what the heck. It's more fun to play.
It's more fun to play. I like that. It means you like the game. Okay, so we have Brock Purdy. We're looking for the top 5 in yards per attempt. Purdy's
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson's number 2.
Mm.
Jaden Daniels.
So far, we have Jackson and Purdy. We need 3 more of the leaders in yards per attempt, including the number 1 answer.
Jared Goff.
Correct. The number 1 answer. We've got Goff, Jackson, and Purdy. Who's next in yards per attempt? That was the one that Dave knew.
No, when you came to me and it was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, it's a guy who's got a blue uniform. And for whatever reason, I couldn't spit out Jared Goff. And then when he said Jared Goff, I knew that it was Jared Goff. None.
All right.
Jalen Hurts.
Correct. He's number 4. Holy cow. Is Heath going to take the entire 5 here?
No, I'm going to miss and give Dave the 5th one that you said on Sunday Night Show.
I don't remember saying that. Goff, Jackson, Purdy, Hurts. Who's next?
Joe Burrow.
Seems like it should be Joe Burrow, right? But it's
Yeah.
not. Double check on this.
It's not Joe Burrow. You're sure about that?
No, not.
Uh-oh. Somebody's
Is there
looking
a?
somewhere.
I have a question that may influence this. Is there a minimum number of games?
Just passer rating qualified, but it's not like a trick. Let's see where Burrow is. All right, you have 5 seconds.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold is number 6.
Oh,
That was going to be my guess.
Oh, Joe Burrow is only 16th. All right, so we're missing number 5. We have Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts. Dave, your chance to steal the round.
He already had 3 misses?
You did, yeah.
Okay. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. You know what? I'm going to give you another guess because I don't think.
No, he's not qualified. Obviously not qualified. It's
But
a
it's on
bad guess.
quarterback rating.
He's played
Heath.
3 games.
No, he's not qualified. I'll give you another guess.
There's like 4 quarterbacks left in the NFL, Dave. You gotta be able to
Justin
get it.
Herbert.
Justin Herbert is incorrect. By the way, Russell Wilson, yards per attempt, where would he rank? He would not be in the top 5. It is Derek Carr.
Oh,
Derek
yeah,
Carr
of course that makes sense.
It does it? I never would have gotten it.
No, he's had a bunch of games this year where he attempts like 25 passes.
Yeah.
Remember
All right,
early
so
in the year? Like the whole offense was throwing deep to Rashid Shaheed.
Heath has 1, Jamey has 1, but I guess we're going to maybe have a tie because Dave needs another chance here. Dave,
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yes.
All right, Jamey and Heath going for round 3. Let's see who wins. This is a completely unfair way to play this game.
Are you okay over there, Jamey?
Yeah, just a
It looked like the sky was falling.
a hat fell. Hat fell.
All right, the top 5 answers are on the board. This is an easy category here. Top 5 leaders in catches, receptions.
Dave.
Dave, you're not in.
Oh, yeah.
You forfeited.
Jamey.
No, it's Heath. He already said Heath. Go ahead, Heath.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers is the number 2 answer. Jamey, chance for number 1.
Jamar Chase.
Correct. He's number 1. All right, you want to pass or play?
I'll pass.
Okay, Heath gets the. Oh, it's all Heath today on Fantasy Feud. All right, so we've got top 5 in catches. Number 1 is Chase. Number 2 is Bowers. You've got 3 strikes. No strikes yet.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson is correct.
Really?
Correct. Not in. Yeah, correct. That not correct.
It's correct that it's not correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, everybody's been hurt. This is going to be some dumb name. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
That's a good guess, though. He's top 10.
Okay.
All right, so we have Chase and Bowers, and you have 2 strikes.
Ooh. Sun in my eyes again, Heath? Ooh.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think this is right either. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is right, believe it or not. I couldn't believe that. He's got like an 83% catch rate. He's 5th. Dave, stop.
Not either. Good job, Dave.
Okay.
Ah, got it. That was a good one, Dave.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb. Dave, that's like ridiculous. Dave just sitting there cheating. CeeDee Lamb is 4th. All right,
Cheating, like the Ohio State Buckeyes might have cheated against the Miami Hurricanes in the 2003 Fiesta Bowl.
where did that come from?
I don't know. I'm just making a reference to something.
Okay.
My wife was like, seriously, Dave? Like, even she knows that I'm up to no good.
Okay, we have one more. Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who else is top 5 in catches?
I think Dave was just trying to give me the final clue, and I don't know who he was
Don't
telling me
worry
at all.
about it. I think he's way off.
Garrett Wilson.
Damn it, Dave. It is Garrett Wilson.
I mean, wow, Heath, great. That was amazing.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
Why'd you ruin Fantasy Feud for everyone?
I
Congratulations.
didn't. Heath got it all on his own. He said the names. I didn't say Heath. It's Garrett Wilson.
In an extremely unfair way, Heath has beat Jamey in Fantasy Feud, even though Heath played 3 rounds, Jamey played 2, and Dave cheated for Heath. So, okay. I
I'd like to think that I won Fantasy Feud today.
think we all lost. Let's grade.
I'm dedicating my victory to Dave.
Let's grade the trade. All right, from you people on Twitter. Thank you for your trades. Johnny traded Josh Jacobs and Tyreek Hill for George Pickens and James Cook.
B.
I think it's a good trade.
We like Pickens better than Hill, right?
Yes.
We like Cook better than Jacobs.
There's slight upgrade.
Yes.
Okay, so he won on both accounts. Good job.
He did.
Jordan is in a 6-point PPR league. 6 point per passing touchdown, 1 point per catch. He gives up Jaden Daniels and Jonathan Brooks. He gets Joe Burrow and Ramondre Stevenson.
That's a win. Good job.
Yeah, that's great. Would you rather have Burrow or Daniels? Is it even close at this point?
I think it's Burrow.
I think if you're not in need of a win this week, it's Burrow. If you need a win this week, it's Daniels.
We said on Friday after the Thursday game that Daniels is a good buy low, right?
It's great by low. Yeah. It's got to hope he's healthy. I mean, think about some of the guys that we're talking about here. Daniels playing through rib injury, 3 straight stinkers. Aaron Jones playing through rib injury, 3 straight stinkers. I mean, that's an injury that Deebo Samuel playing through an oblique injury. We're starting to see a little bit of maybe why these guys are not performing up to the level that they're capable of.
I thought, like what Jamey said, we really need to emphasize this week, especially if your trade deadlines this week, especially if you're maybe a game out of the playoffs this week, you're going to have to throw value out a little bit. If you've got to get a win, go get a win and figure the rest of the season out.
Yeah.
Or you might, if you're 8-1 or 8-3 or whatever your record might be, if you're in the playoffs or if you got the top 2 seed locked up, might be okay to take a loss this week. Trade for some guys on bye and be better in the playoffs.
From Jason, half PPR, 2 quarterback, 3 receiver league. Give up Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. Get Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather have DK rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't like that trade.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's an F.
From JD, I traded Jaden Reed, DK Metcalf, Isaiah Pacheco, and Tyrone Tracy.
That's a lot.
Yep. Reed, Metcalf, Pacheco, and Tracy for Achane, Mooney, and Jennings.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't think you got enough in return.
who was the running back you traded away?
Pacheco.
And Tracy. Let's look at it like this. Let's look at it 2 separate trades. Pacheco and Tracy for Devon Achane.
A+. Like, you got extra credit. We're gonna pass you in 2 classes because that trade's so good.
Okay.
Okay, and
I
then
agree. Yes.
Jaden Reed and DK Metcalf for Darnell Mooney and Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, maybe it's not that bad.
They're the same thing.
You like that trade?
It's
I would
just
rather have
fine.
Reed
It's
and
the
Metcalf.
okay. Sorry, I thought you meant it's the same thing as the Achane trade.
The difference between the running backs is much bigger than the difference between the wide receivers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would rather have Jennings than the other 2 guys?
I think Jennings and DK are probably pretty close. And I think Reed and Mooney are pretty close.
This one is from Hipster Doofus 21. Sounds like someone I'd be friends with. 10-team
Sounds
PPR.
like you.
I'm not a hipster at all, though. The other part. Yeah, the other part. Yeah. 10-team PPR league. Give up Tillman and Josh Allen. Get Kyler Murray and Mike Evans. And he also has Justin Herbert. So
Yep.
You like it?
I like it. Good dude. Good deal. Good deal, dude.
Yeah.
You got to really feel confident that Kyler's going to be close to Josh Allen.
But he also has Herbert.
I don't know. You're getting a huge upgrade, aren't you, from Tillman to Evans?
Provided
maybe.
that Evans is okay. Yeah.
An upgrade.
Okay, please.
Dill traded Flowers for Swift. He badly needed a running back.
That's a C.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Update. So that's
I like Flowers better if it's PPR.
So
all
even
right. From Ben, JSN and Devontae Smith for T. Higgins.
That feels like an overpay for T.
You just got to wonder with T. Higgins, like if they're out of playoff contention, does he shut it down?
Again.
Oh, they're making the playoffs.
I hope so. I really do.
Oh, that would be fun.
I mean, wouldn't you rather see them in the playoffs than the Texans at this point?
Well,
or the Colts?
No.
But
no, I mean, listen, I think it's going to be fun to watch any of those teams play in the playoffs.
I'm not saying it's
we
not,
have
but
to
like
have
if you're
an
ranking
AFC
the
South
teams
team.
that, like, this is where you get rid of divisions. Like,
Get rid
I'd
of
rather see the Bengals
divisions.
every week than almost every team at this point.
Okay.
The
And
Texans are the least fun to watch. I'll give you that.
So the Bengals are a lot of fun, but I also think like it's worth saying that they've absolutely earned this. Like they've
For sure. Yes.
like they don't deserve to be in the playoffs at all.
okay.
I think if they run the table and
earned
finish
this?
10-7, yeah, they were terrible at the beginning of the year. Heath's right. But if they run the table, Heath, and they go 10-7 and they squeeze into a wild card spot, then they've earned that too.
They've blew close games. They blew the Chiefs game. Like
Also, the Patriots
win the games you should win.
Yeah, I agree. They
Yeah.
do deserve it, but they're obviously exciting. I don't think anybody wants to play them in the playoffs. You know,
Everybody would want to play their defense in the playoffs. Nobody would want to play their offense in the playoffs.
if you were whoever, the Chiefs, the Bills, whatever, would you rather play the Broncos or the Bengals in the playoffs?
I mean, everybody's going to say the Broncos, not
Yeah,
the
of
Bengals.
course.
I don't know about that. Broncos defense is good.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, like, you're 100% right, but you'd rather play the.
You don't want to play an elite quarterback ever.
Yeah. All right. From Brigade Gellert or something. I traded Jaden Daniels and Brian.
Say it again.
What?
Say it again.
No.
The name. Say it again. It's not bad. Say it
No.
again.
No.
It's not a potty name.
You have a look on your face. I
No,
don't.
no. I think it's Brigade Alert.
No, it's not.
No.
It's Gellert.
Okay.
I traded. I know Jamey has that I'm up to no good look. Traded Jaden Daniels and Brian Robinson Jr. for Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm good with it.
If your quarterback's okay, then it's an upgrade. Yeah.
Well, the big winner today is Heath for just crushing it on Fantasy Feud. I mean, one of the better performances that we've seen this year. Yeah.
This win goes out to Dave and the sun.
Props to the sun.
Yeah.
Thanks for shining down on us.
Time. All right, we will talk to you on tomorrow's episode with Start or Sit for the AFC home game. See you later, everybody. Thanks for watching.